Welcome back. Matthew Warren joins me now from our business desk. Hello again, Matthew. Now we're going to head straight across to the US, where, of course, they're struggling to recover from that superstorm Sandy. Many businesses in New York struggling, but the markets did open up again yesterday.
That's right, Claire. Both the New York Stock Exchange and the Nasdaq managed to reopen after 2 days of being closed. But as you say, life is far from getting back to normal in many parts of the East Coast, and certainly in New York as well. In the districts of Chinatown and Little Italy, just a handful of businesses are managing to reopen.
A closing bell that sounded more like a sigh of relief for Wall Street. New York's financial hub back in business after its first unplanned shutdown since the September 11th attacks. Just a kilometre or two away in Chinatown, Sandy's calling cards are everywhere. Some of the estimated $20 billion worth of property damage is strewn around. Analysts say the storm will also cost the United States between 10 and 30 billion in lost trade and stock, like at this fish market. The heaters and pumps failed in the power cut, and the consequences are clear. Down the street, Cindy Chung is hoping to trade, but the security grill on her shop won't open without electricity.
We didn't open yesterday, and we closed early on the day of the incident. So, yeah, we totally lost at least 2 days' business.
In neighbouring Little Italy, things are little better. Restaurants are opening their doors, but with no power or running water, the menu is limited. And as one restaurant worker tells us, the district is hardly buzzing with potential diners.
Without tourists, without business. No people, no tourists. This is the Little Italy now.
While public transport remains out of action, that's going to add up to a lot of lost revenue. Authorities still can't say when things will be back to normal.
The markets opening shortly, not long ago in Europe. How are they looking?
That's right, yeah, just opened here in Europe. And it's a bit of a mixed picture this morning, Claire. The FTSE flat there, as you can see, and Frankfurt doing a bit better, while Paris and Madrid both down. We can take a look at Asia as well, where things have closed now. Now, there was some positive data coming out of China on manufacturing activity, suggesting perhaps that the slowdown there is bottoming out, and you can see that reflected in the Shanghai Composite, up 1.7%. I'll just tell you as well, in Japan, shares in Panasonic were down 20% on Thursday, after the company said on Wednesday that it will make a loss of $9.6 billion this year.
Now, the economy in Greece could be worse next year than previously thought.
Yes, that's right. It was already looking pretty gloomy for Greece in 2013. They thought that GDP would shrink by 3.8%, but latest forecasts from the government say it will be even lower, debt rising even higher. And this is, of course, as the government is trying to get savings through the parliament, because it needs to get agreement on those for its international lenders to agree to pay out that next instalment, 31.5 billion euros, which the country badly needs by the end of November.
And staying with the Eurozone, Portugal is also struggling to meet the terms of its bailout.
That's right. Another country that had a bailout, smaller than Greece, 78 billion euros Portugal got. And they've been struggling a bit. They've already had their deficit targets relaxed, as they were having a hard time meeting those. And on Wednesday, the Parliament in Portugal passed a series of draconian tax increases.
It's more bad news for the Portuguese. In a bid to reduce the deficit, Portugal's parliament on Wednesday backed an austerity budget, which includes huge tax rises. The bill, yet to face a final vote later this month, proposes a new tax on financial transactions, as well as massive rises in property and income tax in 2013. The government says its hands are tied.
The lack of a state budget would be in itself a serious infringement of the Troika agreement. A political crisis in those circumstances would expose Portugal to more risks.
In May 2011, Portugal received a bailout worth €78 billion. The European Union and International Monetary Fund then demanded severe spending cuts as part of the package. Ordinary Portuguese, already struggling due to cuts in public sector wages, took to the streets to protest against the latest planned cuts.
I'm here because I'm against all the measures taken by the government. They have to develop and stimulate consumption and give Portuguese people a chance to help our country.
MPs from the governing coalition, which controls 132 seats in the 230-seat parliament, voted to approve the budget. The bill passed despite MPs from the main opposition Socialists voting against it. The bill, however, could yet face legal challenges after a judges' union suggested it might break constitutional rules.
So unpopular belt tightening in Portugal. Here in France, though, there's a lower retirement age for a fraction of the population.
That's right. So in his election campaign, President François Hollande promised to turn back his predecessor's measure that put the retirement age up to 62. He's taken it back down to 60, at least for some people who started work at a very early age and have worked the right number of years and paid all of their social security charges. But anyway, for some lucky people, perhaps, that will come into effect from today. It doesn't affect, as you said, Claire, many people. Only around 30,000 will benefit this year. Well, now let's get some of the day's company news. And Sony has reported a $193 million net loss for the latest quarter. It's the 7th straight quarterly loss for the Japanese electronics company. Sony's cutting 10,000 jobs, about 6% of its global workforce.
Lloyds Banking Group lost €179 million in the latest quarter. That was a better figure than the same period last year. Britain's biggest retail bank has been compensating UK customers over mis-sold loan insurance. That cost €1.2 billion in the 3 months to the end of September.
And the oil giant Shell has reported its core earnings down 15% to just over $6 billion. The company has been making cost savings and increased its production, but these were more than offset by falls in the price of gas and oil.
Now, yesterday, Wednesday, wasn't a great day for Facebook.
It wasn't, and it perhaps should have been Monday because a whole load of Facebook shares were unlocked. They'd been kept from employees being able to sell them, but from Monday. But of course, when the stock markets were closed, they weren't able to do it. They were able to yesterday. Many of these 230 million shares are owned by employees, as I said. Some took the opportunity to sell. That led to the Facebook share price dropping 4%. It's now down from its IPO listing price in May of $38 down to $21.
So Facebook shares down, but another company got a boost from a new investor.
Yes, now Netflix is another company we've taken a look at quite a few times. It's the largest operator of online video streaming. Now, it was once the darling of the stock market, a red-hot stock with a share price of over $300, but that's fallen back a lot since then. Increased competition from cable operators, from Amazon as well, has really hurt it. You can see what's happened to its share price all the way down, but got a bit of a boost when the billionaire investor Carl Icahn bought 10% of the company. He thinks that Netflix is undervalued and it could be a good acquisition target. That sent the share price up 14% in trading on Wednesday.
All right, now these days, most airlines have an online booking system, and you've got news of one that's just been launched.
Now, this is Air Koryo from North Korea. They don't fly to that many places, and they haven't had a great reputation. The Skytrax rating only gives it 1 star. It's the only airline to have 1 star, which is really a sign of not very good quality. But they've been trying to improve with new aircraft, but they have launched this online booking service. You can see it there. Just one problem with it that makes it not very user-friendly. Apparently, you can't use your credit card to book. You have to arrange an international wire transfer. So maybe they've got a little way to go yet.
A little bit complicated, but at least they're getting with the times and they'll get there
there
eventually, I imagine. All right, thank you very much, Matthew, for that look at the day's business news. Thank you for watching France 24. Stuart Nor will have the headlines in a couple of minutes' time. Don't go away.